Good morning, students. Welcome to day 4. Okay. In last class, we discussed that is duplex structure of DNA given by the scientist, that is Watson and Crick. We also discussed that is the structure, that is duplex model of DNA, which is given by Watson and Crick. That was based on two studies. And the two studies were that is given by scientists, that is Franklin and Wilkins, who told that is by using the method or through X-ray crystallography, that is one. Or I will write here again, that is scientist name Franklin and Wilkins. Franklin and Wilkins, these scientists, that is by using which method? X-ray crystallography. X-ray crystallography method or X-ray diffraction method. X-ray diffraction method. By this method, what they told, that is the first information given by them, that is DNA molecule is a helix molecule and it is not a straight molecule. And the second information given by them, that is there are some bands which shows that is periodicity. Periodicity means there are some bands in the, that is between the two strands of DNA which are at the regular distance, at a proper distance, that is showing 3.4 angstrom. We discussed in the diagram in last class only. That is it. Another study, this was the first study, and the second study given by that is Chargaff. What Chargaff said, or what was the Chargaff's law? Law of base equivalence. Base equivalence. He told that the concentration of purine is always equal to pyrimidine. Purine always equal to pyrimidine, that is molar concentration of purine always equal to pyrimidine. And also you can write here, that is A plus G equal to T plus C, or you can write A plus G divided by T plus C equal to, it is equal means constant. And this is nothing but Chargaff's rule of base equivalence. Chargaff's rule of base equivalence. From this, what we got? He told that the concentration of adenine will be always equal to concentration of, that is thymine. That is one. Or you can in short call purine is always equal to pyrimidine. Okay. And this was actually the hallmark. Very important word. Hallmark. Nothing but why we are considering this point as hallmark? Because if you know the concentration of adenine, okay, you can automatically predict the concentration of what? Thymine, because you know adenine pairs with thymine. Simple example we will see here. In a DNA, okay, there is 30% of guanine is there. Suppose the question is like that. In a DNA, 30% of guanine is there. Then calculate the percentage of adenine. Suppose the question is like that. In a DNA, if the concentration of guanine is 30%, then calculate the percentage of adenine. How you are going to calculate? Remember, guanine is 30%, means here cytosine is also 30%. Now, by combining these two, how it is became 60%. Remaining 40%. What it will be? That is 40% nothing but 20% of adenine pairing with 20% of thymine. Are you getting? That is one. If guanine concentration is 30% in a DNA, then calculate the percentage of thymine. When they ask like that, then first you know already, that is purine always equal to pyrimidine according to this rule. That is guanine 30% and then cytosine also 30%. By these two, that is 60%, remaining portion will be in the DNA 40%. 40% in the sense, again two base pairs are there, thymine and adenine and thymine. So what is the question asked? The percentage of adenine. So that is 40 divided by 2, that is 20% will be adenine, 20% will be thymine. So this rule was very important and that is given by Chargaff, and it is very important in today's studies. That is because if you know the sequence of one strand, that is if you know the sequence of one strand, means suppose one DNA strand having the sequence like A, T, G, C, A. What will be the sequence of other strand? You can predict easily. That is A always pair with T, T will pair with A, G will pair with C, and C pair with G, vice versa. Okay, A pair with again T. You know already the bonds. A pair with T with how many hydrogen bonds? 2. Again T, vice versa. T pair with adenine, that is again bond 2. Here that is total hydrogen bonds 3. And यहाँ पे total hydrogen bonds again 3. And here again 2 hydrogen bonds. So what is the concept here? If you know the base sequence of one strand, you are able to predict the base sequence of other strand. That is by following only which rule? Chargaff's rule or Chargaff's law of base equivalence. The limitation of this rule is only applicable for double-stranded DNA. Very important from the exam point of view. Chargaff's law is only applicable for double-stranded DNA, because we told that purine always equal to pyrimidine, that is purines paired with pyrimidine like that, and hence this law is limited or applicable for double-stranded type of DNA. Now you say DNA is always single strand, DNA is always double-stranded, but in few viruses DNA is single stranded. It means in virus Chargaff's law is not applicable, because the DNA in viruses is single stranded and Chargaff's rule is only applicable to double stranded DNA. And why we consider as hallmark? Hallmark because if we know the sequence of one strand, we are able to predict the sequence of another strand, and hence only this information, which is very important, given by Chargaff, considered as hallmark in the study of DNAs. So based on these information or studies, Watson and Crick in year 1953 proposed the DNA duplex model or helix structure of DNA, which is of B type, which we studied in detail with the beautiful diagram in the last class. That is one. So first point was DNA, it is a double stranded molecule, backbone is made up of sugar and phosphate. Just I am revising the things. Second point, that is they have this complementary base pairing. The word complementary important. It shows complementary base pairing means purine always pairing with pyrimidine based on this information. Third, what is that? It shows right-handed coiling. Right-handed coiling. Fourth, it is the two strands are again anti-parallel with each other. That is one strand have 5 to 3 prime polarity. Another strand will have 3 to 5 prime polarity. Again, that one turn of DNA is called, one complete turn of DNA is called, that is pitch of helix or pitch of DNA, which measures about or which has a length of 34 angstrom or 3.4 nanometer. Again, in one turn, there are how many base pairs, friends? That is 10 base pairs. Means the distance between each base pair is 3.4 angstrom or 0.34 nm. We discussed these things all, that is yesterday's class only. Okay, and based on that we also calculated the length of human DNA. Okay, so these things we discussed in the last class. And coming to length of DNA, you know the base pairs of DNA, that is 5174 virus, lambda phase. Okay, number of base pairs. There is not base pair, it is only bases, because those have single stranded DNA. Next, coming to E. coli, I told you number of base pair 4.6 into 10 to the power, that is 6 base pair. Coming to human genome, genome means haploid. How many base pairs are there? 3.3 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, this much of base pair we have. So this was multiplied by 2 actually, that is 6.6 into 10 to the power 9. That is 2 2n because our body is 2n. What is n and 2n? Haploid. N is haploid, that is 23 in our body. The chromosomes are from mother and 23 are from, that is, father. And hence completely it becomes 46. 46 chromosomes. Okay. The chromosomes which are containing total 46 chromosomes, their length will be, that is this one, 6.6 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs. Now the distance between each base pair we know already. What is that? 0.34 nm, nanometer, into 10 to the power minus 9 actually. So first convert it into meter, it will be easy to calculate this one. Now multiply to this into 10 to the power 9, that is 1. So this one goes and again this one goes. So yesterday what was the value? 2.2 meter DNA. Up to this point we discussed in the last class, there is 2.2 meter. What was the question? How such a long DNA stored in, that is a small nucleus which is having how much size? 1 micron only. That is a mammalian cell, you can call size of the nucleus, that is 1 micron or 10 to the power minus 9 meter, like that. So the question is that how such a long DNA is going to fix into a small nucleus. The nucleus which is present in the cell. Cell itself is having a small dimension, and in the cell again nucleus is again a very small dimension. So how it is going to fit in that? That is nothing but today's heading, that is packaging of DNA. Packaging of DNA. You can also call, that is, nucleosome model, or you can call V8. Also you can call, that is, new body. Remember the term here, it is not NEW, it is NU, new body. What is this? Okay. Scientist Udok first time showed that there are some bead-like structures or round structures in the nucleus. When he observed in the electron microscope, he first time told that there are some, that is, round structures, thick round structures. Okay, that is one. And later scientist Audet named these thick round structures as nucleosome. Okay, so this structure we are going to study in this class. What is nucleosome? That is nothing but how DNA is going to coil or get packed in small nucleus. This is heading nothing but nucleosome. The term given by Audet, and that was first time observed by or showed by, discovered by scientist Udok. The term given by Audet and discovered by Udok. That is. So what is nucleosome? First observe here. Students, you know already, charge on DNA is negative. Due to what? Phosphorus. And whether it is acidic or basic, DNA is acidic again due to phosphorus. Charge on DNA, that is negative, you know already. So here in the nucleus we have some proteins that is called, very important, histone protein. Histone protein in our nucleus. That is, these histone proteins are nothing but positively charged proteins. These histone proteins are positively charged proteins. Now the charge of DNA is negative. Okay. So here what happens? The histone proteins which are made up of, why they are positive? First we discuss that one. Protein made up of what? Amino acids. Protein made up of what? Amino acids. Now these amino acids Actually they are basic. Basic means that is positively charged amino acids. Positively charged amino acids. And by the long chain of amino acid, what is going to form? Protein. Okay. So when the amino acids are basic and when the amino acids are positive, the protein by them which is forming by them, that will be again basic. Remember, histone is a basic protein and have positive charge. Why it is having positive charge or it is basic? Because made up of basic amino acids as well as positively charged. Which are those amino acids? That is again important for entrance also. That is arginine and lysine. Arginine and lysine, these are the two, that is basic proteins which are present in this histone. These are the two amino acids which are present in rich form in these proteins, histone proteins. Another third also is there called histidine. Histidine, okay, you have to remember these two, it's okay. Again histidine also there, which is a basic protein. By formation, by polypeptide chain of these amino acids, protein is going to form. Which protein? Histone protein. Now just see here, when the histones are there, now again histones are of four type, that is first H2A, second H2B, third H3, fourth H4. These are what? Totally histone proteins. How many molecules are there? 4. Each of them is 2 in number. 2 in number. Now how many protein molecule formed here? That is 2 into 4, 8 proteins. Now just I draw a simple diagram here. This is for example our H2A and this is again H2B and this is H3 and this is H4. Okay. Now I told you each of them are 2 in number. That is H2A another copy, H2B another copy, and this is H3. Okay, remember here it is behind this. Okay, there is another molecule and this is again what? H4. This one H4. So how many total form? That is 8 proteins. 8 proteins. And this structure we call, that is histone octamer. Very important term, histone octamer. I told you these proteins made up of which amino acids? Basic amino acids, and hence they have charge, that is positive charge. And by combining these amino acids we form this one, histone protein. The charge is positively charged, that is one. So for your understanding I will draw here easy. By combining these all 8 proteins, okay, 8 proteins molecules, we are drawing here a simple structure. Now who is going to find here? These proteins, since they are positively charged in the nucleus, they attract negatively charged molecule, which is that? That is DNA. That is DNA. Okay. After this, it will turn like this. Turn like this. And then it leaves from this round structure. Okay. Another one, histone, another protein, that is a fifth type called H1. H1 protein, that is the fifth one. What is the function of this one? Remember, in NCERT the diagram is given like this diagram. But actually it is containing 8 protein molecules. Now this is H1. This is actually H1. Okay, in these 8 proteins are present. Now who is going to wrap here? That is our DNA molecule. DNA molecule. Now this DNA, it comes again here. It wraps another DNA. That is another histone protein molecule, and then again use from here. Okay, so this is one histone octamer. This is another histone octamer to which the DNA is wrapped. This DNA, this structure is called, that is histone octamer core. Histone histone octamer core, because here these wrapped, this is you can call wrapped DNA. What is the cause here wrapping? By tightly, that is the protein is positively charged, DNA is negatively charged, and hence they attract each other, and there is a coiling or packing is going to form. Okay, now listen, this is histone octamer and this is wrapped DNA. The complete word comes here, histone octamer core. Now the DNA which is present here is called, that is the wrapped DNA is called core DNA. What is the word? Core DNA, which contains 146 base pairs. Very important word, that is value this one. 146 base pairs. What is that? The DNA which is wrapped around histone protein or histone octamer. It has how many base pairs? 146 base pairs. Now, here after completing one term, it is reaching to other octamer, and this DNA we call, these are base pairs. This DNA we call linker DNA. Linker DNA. Actually, linker DNA. Now this linker DNA contains 60 base pairs. 60 base pairs. It means, listen here, one nucleosome equal to, actually according to NCERT, you follow that one, 200 base pairs. In one nucleosome, how many base pairs are there? That is 200 base pairs. How is that? 146 plus 60. Actually it will be 206, but according to book you follow 200 base pairs. Now coming to term, how DNA is going to wrap around? Here DNA completes one term. Simple example. Suppose this is the octamer. Okay, first DNA comes here and makes a wrap here, one term completed, that is one term. Again it comes like this and comes here. It is 1.5, that is 1.5 term. First listen, DNA started its term from here and completed here 1. After that, second term it is going to continue and comes here. It will be what? 1.5 and comes here, this side. Okay, and moves for the next nucleosome. It means how many term it is completing? That is 1/3. 1/3, or you can call 1.75 term. 1.75 term. One complete term, then one half, and then 0.25 term. That is 1/3 term. It is going to complete, and then the DNA leaves and attached to another histone octamer. Another histone octamer. This value is important for exam. This value is also important for exam. That is entrance exams. And this is again, these numbers are very important. This is also important. This is called linker DNA. This is called core DNA, which is wrapped around this. And this H1. Now what is doing this? Suppose these 8 ball-like structures, actually these are ball-like structures for your understanding. When you gather these ball-like structures and a rope is binded around them, by the pressure there are chances of splitting these balls. Okay, simple example. Okay, when 8 balls are gathered together and when you tie with rope to them tightly, there are chances of splitting those balls away from each other, and hence here H1 is a protein actually which makes them to be together. It means it is acting like a clamp. It is acting like what? Clamp. Okay, it is just holding those 8 molecules, those all ball-like structures together, clamp, or you can also call it is another word, linker histone. Linker histone. One word, that is clamp or linker histone. What is function of H1? It holds the 8 protein molecules. Important function of H1 is it holds the 8 protein molecules which are formed a octamer. Histone octamer is going to be at the same size without splitting due to, that is, clamping or support given by H1. This is H1. This is H1. So like this, a DNA is going to pack here. Now what happens in the next stage? Like that, same structure will be there. I will draw here in short. First listen. Suppose our DNA is here. Suppose this is our DNA. The double stranded molecule. The detailed structure we saw yesterday. This one. This DNA, when it binds, I told you, scientist, that is, which one first scientist? Udok. First time showed that there are some thickenings. Those thickenings are nothing but these structures. The simple structure which we discussed just before. These structures are nothing but what it appear like. These are nothing but beads. Beads. This straight line is nothing but beads on string. It is called beads on string appearance. Now dear students, what is this? This thickening, this is nothing but one nucleosome. This structure. What is one nucleosome? For your easy understanding, one nucleosome, what it contains? Remember, what are those? It is H2A plus H2B plus H3 and H4 into 2. Remember, why into 2? Each of them is copies 2. This one. And after that, what is adding here? Again here it is plus H1. I am writing H1 separate because it is not a part of octamer. I will tell in detail again soon. So, what is a nucleosome? It is octamer. 2 copies of this, 2 copies of this, 2 copies of this, and 2 copies of H4. All are held together here with the help of H1. It is acting as a clamp. Okay. To this, what is wrapped? That is DNA plus DNA. This whole combination, what we call nucleosome. So here it is one nucleosome. Okay. And like that, it means what is this? This part. What is this? Linker part. Okay. When after completing, that is 1/3/4 term. 1/3/4 term. After completing that one, it is going to join to the next histone octamer. So which DNA it is? Linker DNA. And you know its base pair? 60. This is structure. Okay. So how it is appearing? Beads on a string appearance, and this appearance was seen by that scientist Udok in the electron microscope. Very important. Again, these words as well as the diagram is given in NCERT. The diagram is beads on string appearance. Normally, the beads, okay, which we wear for our that is daily purpose, okay, by preparing, okay, like ornamentals, the beads on the string. The same appearance is here. Okay, that is beads on string appearance given in the NCERT also. That was observed in electron microscope. Now what happens next? So students here, that is these beads on string like appearance. After that, here what happens later, just see. For example, first coiling or packaging of DNA. What is our intention to study? How that is 2.2 meter of DNA is fixed in a small nucleus, that is which is having 1 micron size. That we are going to study today. After first coiling, it will appear like this. This type of structure. Okay, remember each term will have actually 5 to 6 it is given. But you remember like 6, okay, that is each term will have that is 6 nucleosomes. Remember this structure is again here. The term is going to form this one. Each turn is having 6 nucleosomes. Simple structure which is coiled here. Now listen, this is what? This is our DNA. What is its diameter? Yesterday we studied 20 angstrom, or right here 20, that is 2 nm. 2 nm. Now after that, coming to here, what is the diameter here? That is 10 nm. 10 nm. Next here it is 30 nm. And this coiled structure we call as chromatin fiber, or also you can call solenoid. What is that word? Solenoid. Okay. Now listen, what is happening here? 2 nm DNA it was. When the coiling started, first it forms that is beads on string appearance. Thickness increased 10 nm. After that, when this beads on string appearance started to coil again, okay, coil again, it formed which structure? Chromatin fiber, or also called solenoid. What is its thickness? 30 nm. Again thickness increased. Next that is here second coiling. Very easy and interesting also. Listen, second coiling. What happens in second coiling? It will be like this. The structure will be like this. Like this one like that. Again densely coiling will be there, and this structure we call as super solenoid. What is the word? Super solenoid. What is the thickness of this one now? It will increase by 10 times. Nothing but 300 nm. 300 nm. Now after that, coming to third coiling. Third coiling. What happens? This super solenoid converts into the structure called, which we studied in the first year chapter. What is that structure? Chromatid. And you know already learned the term sister chromatid. So this is the structure which formed by again dense coiling of the super solenoid, and this we call as chromatid. This is one chromatid. We are talking about only one chromosome. Okay. Anyway, there are again 46 chromosomes. Same will be taking place in all of them. But first particular talking about only one, and this is the chromatid which is densely coiled. What will be thickness? Again it will be double, like nearly 700 nm. That is the thickness of chromatid. First listen, it was our normal DNA. It is going to coil, and that is first coil. Actually you can call here first coiling, here second coiling, like that. Okay. This is a beads on string appearance. Then after its next stage coiling, it formed chromatin fiber, or another third, that is termed solenoid. This is everything taking place in nucleus. Remember, next coiling, when happens, it will be super solenoid. What is the thickness? That is 300 nm. After that, high level of coiling you can call, or high level of packaging or densely packing you call, that is chromatid. Okay, and this chromatid, what happens? You studied in the cell cycle, cell division chapter during S phase. The DNA duplicates into two copies of itself, and it will form the easy structure, interesting structure, that is called chromosome. You can draw it like this again. These are nothing but densely packed DNA strand, densely packed chromatin fiber. How it became double? Which process? You know already, replication. In this chapter we are going to study in the next classes, further classes, replication. During which phase? That you studied in the first year. Cell cycle, cell division chapter. This diagram, remember students, this one. Okay. S phase is here. During this S phase, this is M phase, you know. Okay. This is G1, G2, like that. During this phase, what is going to duplicate? DNA going to duplicate itself and it converts into the next most thick structure that we call, what is that? Yes, chromosome. Chromosome. What will be thickness? 1400 nm. 1400 nm. Now question comes here. Why we are talking about replication or making double copy? Remember, when our cells are in resting stage, means non-dividing stage, the DNA is found in which form? Chromatin fiber form. Very important point. When the cells are in the resting stage, our DNA is in which form? Chromatin fiber or solenoid. But when it starts to divide, first it forms supersolenoid, next it converts into chromatid, then it converts into chromosome. Finally, you know, in anaphase, these two sister chromatids divide from each other, that you studied in the first year, by splitting the centromere. I told you, these two chromatids क्या दो sister जुदा हो जाते हैं. That is one. Okay, these two sister chromatids divide from each other in anaphase. That is another part. Okay, so this one. Remember, who is helping here for the coiling? Who is helping? Up to chromatin fiber. This is in resting stage. Okay. After that, high level of coiling is taking place here. The high level of coiling is helpful by, remember, initial coiling or packing helped by histone protein. Initial coiling helped by histone protein, then higher coiling helped by, that is, non-histone chromosomal protein. You can in short write NHC. Very interesting. High level of coiling, who is going to help here? Non-histone chromosomal proteins. Remember, here histone protein is basic. Non-histone protein is very important difference. It is acidic. It is acidic. Non-histone chromosomal protein NHC is acidic in nature. What is doing here the function of NHC? That is, when the cell is in resting stage, it is in which form? Nucleosome form. That is beads on a string form, and later it is chromatin fiber form. That is when the cell is in resting stage. But when the cell is supposed to divide, means it is going to divide into its two daughter cells, it is going to coil again densely, very densely, because such a long DNA is there. It has to pack in a very minute space. The dimension of the nucleus is very less, 1 micron. So high level of coiling is going to occur by, with the help of what? Non-histone chromosomal protein. That is. So this is how a DNA is going to pack into a small nucleus finally, and in this way, that is actually chromatin fiber, DNA is in resting stage, and after that during division, DNA again gets highly condensed form with the help of what? Non-histone chromosomal protein. Main principle behind this is what? Here histone protein is positively charged. Due to its which amino acids? Positively charged amino acids like arginine, lysine, histidine, which are again basic. That is important thing. Okay, and next, high level of coiling, who is going to help? Non-histone chromosomal protein. Again, behind this, if you want, you studied in the biomolecule chapter in first year, that is how a amino acid is going to become, that is, positively charged or negatively charged. You know already amine group, and then here it is carbon and COOH, and here it is H. Here it will be R. This is again change. Okay, whatever here comes, suppose here comes amine group, the amino acid will become positively charged. Suppose here it comes that is carboxylic group, it will become negatively charged. For example, NH3 is carrying positive charge and carboxyl is carrying negative charge. And in case suppose this are occupied by NH3 again amine group, so charge, which charge is becoming dominant here? Two positively charged are here, one is negatively charged. Such amino acid will convert into positive charge, and that is arginine, lysine, histidine. All are like this type of amino acids only, where amine groups are more than the carboxylic group. Nothing but positive charges are more than the negative charges, and hence these are positively charged amino acids. And amino acids गुंपागी एक प्रोटीन तैयार होगी. That protein is nothing but positively charged protein. We are calling as histone protein. Total 4 type of histone are there: H2A, H2B, H3, H4. Each of having 2 copies, and it is becoming 8-1. That is histone octamer. That is again packed by a DNA that is called core DNA, and then that is held by which one? H1. That is clamp-like function it is doing. Then it is again moving to the next nucleosome. One nucleosome equal to how many base pairs? 200 base pairs. 200 base pairs means, friend, how many bases? I will write here. 200 base pairs equal to how many base pairs? That is 400 bases. 200 base pairs equal to 400 base pairs, because in one strand 200 bases, in opposite strand again 200 bases. Bases are nothing but here adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine, all these things. Okay, that is 400 bases. So based on this we can calculate the length of DNA again here. So this is how our DNA is packed. This is seen in what? Which animals? Nucleosome, very important in eukaryotes. In eukaryotes, packaging of DNA in what? Eukaryotes. We all are eukaryotes. What is our length of DNA? That is 2.2 meter. Such long DNA is going to condense very thickly in which structure? The structure is nucleosome. Nucleosome. What a nucleosome contain? I already told you. Now after that, one word comes here. Since there is a thickening like this, I will write here. In this thickening, suppose the part which is loosely packed, is called first year already you studied. That is the loosely packed part you call euchromatin, and the part which is densely packed like this or like this is called heterochromatin. Very important words. The part which is loosely packed is called euchromatin, and the part which is densely packed is called heterochromatin. Okay. Now coming to its some extra kinds of euchromatin and heterochromatin here. I will write here. After densely packed, okay. Again, this is 2-mark question in theory also. Euchromatin and heterochromatin. Definition 1 marks ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು 2 marks. Okay, euchromatin, you can tell your own. It is lightly packed or loosely packed or densely packed? That is loosely packed. What? Loosely packed. And second, it is densely packed. All that is explanation is here only. You can tell your own. Now what is that? When you stain here, it will retain dark or light stain. Retain light stain. But when you stain this one, it will get darkly stained. Darkly stained. Because thickening is there, it will appear dark because it retains more stain. Okay. Then third, since it is loosely coiled, it is transcriptionally active. What is transcription? Transcription, I told you already in the introduction class. That is formation of RNA, that is exactly mRNA from DNA, is called transcription. So transcriptionally active, which type of chromatin? Euchromatin, and this is transcriptionally inactive. This is transcriptionally inactive. Okay, so these are the difference between euchromatin and heterochromatin. Euchromatin and heterochromatin. So here, after getting the difference between euchromatin and heterochromatin, another small topic or information here you have to understand again. Difference between histone and non-histone chromosomal protein, in short NHC. Here I will write histone and here I will write NHC. Enrido non-histone chromosomal protein. First difference, its molecular weight is low molecular weight. Its molecular weight is high molecular weight. Next, acidic or basic. Acidic or basic, that is histone is basic, and this is, I told here, acidic. Okay, acidic in nature. Difference, that is reason basic because of what? Because of amino acids. Which amino acids? Because of amino acids like arginine, lysine, extra you can write histidine. Okay, here there are no basic amino acids. No basic amino acids. Okay, this is second difference. Two difference in each. Coming to third. Okay, types of histone. You studied already. Which one that is? First write H1. Second write down H2A, H2B, fourth write down H3, and then H4. Each of them are 2 in number. This is single. This is single in number, which is acting as a clamp holding these 8 balls. That is 8 balls of that is histone proteins. Okay, that is total types of histone protein. Types of histone protein. Now here, important information. Types of non-histone protein. First type, scaffold or structural. Structural or scaffold proteins. Structural or scaffold proteins. What is its function? It function that help in higher level of coiling, means nothing but chromosome formation. That is first type. Second type in non-histone chromosomal protein, what is that? Structural. After structural, second one, and the second one is functional non-histone chromosomal protein. What is its function? Functional, nothing but you will study soon. Proteins like DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase, they are nothing but they are from this group only. NHC, non-histone chromosomal protein, they part of the. What is that? DNA polymerase and RNA polymerase. These are acting as actually enzymes. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? These are acting as actually enzymes. But enzymes are nothing but what? Protein. And DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase, we have again important function in DNA replication and transcription. All these things, they are nothing but which type proteins? Non-histone chromosomal proteins. Three types are there: structural, which is helping in high-level coiling, that is chromosome formation, and functional, they are nothing but helping in transcription, replication, like that. Third, that is high mobility group protein. Here there may be in exam they may ask the long form of this one also. What is the long form or full form? High mobility group protein. High mobility group protein. What is its function? Very important. Okay, remember DNA is our genetic material. How we call it as genetic material? We appear like our parents or siblings. What is that reason? Our body totally made up of proteins, and the formation of protein we call it as transcription and translation. So transcription and translation, how it is going to occur? From DNA, what is going to have produce or form? That is RNA. That process we call transcription. And from RNA, what is going to form? That is translation. Means from DNA we are getting translation is protein. So transcription agbekandaga, if the transcription has to be happen, that is the DNA plus histone which are in combination form. Actually histone is capturing to the DNA or attracting to DNA due to charge, opposite charge, and there is a strong packaging between them. So if transcription is to occur, these two have to become free. Means here DNA which is wrapped around the histone, it should become free from the histone, and then only it can undergo transcription. And here these proteins are playing very important role. That is high mobility group proteins. What they do? They go towards the nucleosome and they hit the nucleosome and causes separation of DNA and histone, and then DNA is able to undergo transcription. And later what is going to form? Translation, nothing but protein. We will discuss it again. Next class is this one. It is again separate heading. Protein. It means finally how it is going to help. I will write here. DNA which is separated from histone becomes able to produce RNA, that is mRNA. From this we are getting protein, and whatever protein is formed, that type our phenotype or genotype will be formed. So this is nothing but gene expression. Very important. Gene expression. Gene expression means genes which are expressing themselves. For example, our eye color, nature of our hairs, curly hairs, straight hairs, okay, color of hairs, color of skin, our height, our appearance, whatever is totally depend upon our genes. Genes nothing but that is fragment of DNA. DNA want to express itself. It means gene expression is going to initiate by these proteins, and hence these are considered as gene expression initiator, or you can call as de-repressor protein. Because what it is doing? It is allowing, okay, to take place the transcription. It is taking part, or it is causing the initiation of gene expression to start, whereas histone, it is holding the DNA together and it is becoming what? Gene expression repressor. The terms are different here. Repressor and here de-repressor. De-repressor means which is stopped, inhibited. That one is going to become free by these proteins. And here histone what is doing? it is stopping the gene expression, nothing but it is not allowing the DNA to undergo transcription and translation. That is formation of RNA and formation of protein, which is not going to allow histone protein. Hence it is called as gene expression repressor. It means it is inhibiting gene expression, but it is promoting gene expression. The term exact here is promoting. It is promoter of gene expression. So difference between histone and MHC, that is non-histone chromosomal protein. Low molecular weight, high molecular weight. Basic it is nature, it is acidic. Why it is basic? Due to these amino acids. And there are no basic amino acids. Then types, that is H2A, H2B, H3, H4, each copy 2. That is forms 8 balls octamer and H1 is there. After that, here types structural, which is helping in, or scaffold, helping in higher level of binding. Then functional, what is its function? That is DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase. It will be helping in, that is DNA replication. These are again associated with NHC only. Third, and then HMGP, high mobility group protein. What it is functioning? Actually, histone and DNA, when they are formed nucleosome, there is when it want to express the gene when want to express, it is going to, that is, separate the DNA and histone, and hence only DNA undergoes gene expression. Means it is acting as gene promoter, gene expression promoter or initiator of gene expression, whereas histone is inhibiting the transcription. So here it is total about how our 2.2 meter long DNA is going to get packed in a small nucleus. This is about total all today's class, that is one nucleosome model. Nucleosome model. Last point I want to mention here, H1. I told you H1 is not considered the part of nucleosome. Instead, the structure is like this. For example, I will draw here. It was like this. It became like this. Totally this is H1. And I told you H1 is not part of nucleosome because when the cell divides, this H1 is not inherited into the daughter cell. These all proteins are inherited to the daughter cell. That is octamer, 8 proteins are inherited to the daughter cell, but this H1 is not going to inherit into daughter cells, and hence it is not. Inherit means passing to the daughter cell, transferring to the daughter cell. It is not going to pass or transfer into daughter cell. Hence, it is not considered part of nucleosome. So this is about totally packaging of DNA in eukaryotes, or you can call mammalian cell, where the nucleus dimension is very small. In such a smaller nucleus, such a long DNA is packed by this method, by coiling all these things. This is our resting DNA, and when the cell start to divide, it will start to high coil, that is highly coiling, where NHCs are going to help. Histones are basic protein, NHCs are acidic proteins. So listen carefully this class. If you are not understanding in first time, please repeat the terms or repeat the time of the video and get it clear. Okay, read well. Thank you.